YouTube. So new cameras, new microphone. Tomorrow is my birthday, so presents, nice, thank you. The weather's actually really nice today. It's a little bit cool, but I'm fine. The roads are dry, and it's just nice to get out. It's really, really nice to get out. I've missed not being out on the bike for the last few weeks. Unfortunately, I've been a bit under the weather, and then compound that with very early starts at work, so it's usually very low temperatures. The one thing I will not do is ride out in zeros or freezing. I have a car, I have choice. I must admit, in my youth, I did my fair share of riding motorcycles in every weather. Largely because it wasn't an option. I always loved bikes. I chose to ride a bike when I first was able to get a driving license. In fact, I think I passed my motorcycle license in about 1998, and I didn't pass my car test until 2004. The irony of that, though, was that the car test was a breeze. I actually sailed straight through my car test. I'm going to put that down to having a fair chunk of rider experience, road awareness maybe. Nice, somebody's lost a hubcap right in the middle of the lane. Let's make sure we don't hit that. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to watch the opposite light. There you go, so that's just changed, so ours is now. Here comes. Oh my goodness, you are slow. There we go. Yeah, so probably going to be one of my last rides of the year. I've tucked away the VFR for the winter. Put it on a sawn today along with the CBR 1000. To be honest, the VFR is a joy. It was hello buddy. Aside from it being an absolute wreck when I got it, it was the first motorcycle I passed my test on. Back in '98, that was the bike I had, my first big bike, and I fell in love with it then. And the opportunity presented itself to get this later VFR, albeit same year. But she'd been she'd been sat in a hedge for over 20 years. So I took it apart, I stripped her down, rebuilt her, and she's back on the road. And you know, she's not perfect, but I like to say recommissioned rather than restored. Restored would be unfair. But she did her winter riding. She was used by an ex-police officer, and it was his primary mode of transport to work. I think it was with the Welwyn Garden City Force. Hello boys. It had a I wouldn't say a hard life, but it had certainly seen all the weathers, and it had certainly had some corrosion. So as far as I'm concerned, she's 40 years old. She's done her fair share of bad weather. So now that's my joy bike. That's the one I bring out in the summer because it puts a smile on my face. As I said to many people, it's the 1986, it's the first version, the FG, and that meant it was cam gears instead of a cam chain. And the other thing with it being a V4 engine, the carburetors are mounted under the tank directly facing the rider in the V4 configuration. So when you open her up, you get all of the induction roar, and sitting over the top of that is the whistle from the cam gears, and it sounds like a supercharger. Well, at least it does to me. I love it. I absolutely love it. So she puts a smile on my face. So yeah, 1986, 40 years old. So there's a thing. So she had a last MOT, which is a bit of an odd one because I think there's a month's discrepancy. So I think, gosh, I've got a feeling when the MOT runs out, I've got to wait 1 month for its 40th anniversary, and at that point I can then register it as a classic vehicle in terms of the MOT. So I can stop the MOTs after that point. Weirdly though, because she was manufactured, I think it was August of '86, that would mean I would have to pay another year's worth of road tax before that too can be turned off. But that's fine. That's fine. She's a cool little girl. I mean, it's such a nice bike. You know, considered a sports tourer. I think later in its life considered a sports tourer. Sports bike when it first came out. But it's such a comfortable bike. It's so easy to do the miles on. But oh my goodness, yeah, it's 40 years old, but crikey, you pin it and it goes. Absolutely rockets. It's kind of that weird thing now, isn't it, where, you know, certainly people of my age, middle 50s, you know, classics, I still think of BSAs and aerials and all of these older bikes, Triumphs, the original Triumphs, as being classic. But now we're talking about, you know, superbikes of the 80s being considered classics. A strange time. Oh, hello, buddy. A little bit of gravel and dross down here. Cold. She's been in the shade as well, so it's been in the shade, I should say. Okay. Just take your time. Long time since I've been through here. I was going to go back through the back roads into Baldock, but I think I might bottle it a bit and head back to the dual carriageway. Strange in that so much of this is actually okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the footage. Give us an opportunity to see how this Action 4 DJI Osmo Action 4 looks, and also the microphone, the DJI Mini 2, I think. super cool thing. Tried to follow the advice that I've seen online. The microphone is pitched quite high up on the cheek foam. Oh, good. Yeah, high on the cheek foam. So hopefully it shouldn't be clipping. I think I've got noise reduction right down, gain right down. But we see. Come on, guys. There we go. Middle of the lane. What's that? It's a random lump of earth. Looked like an animal sitting at the side of the road for a second. Nice. Yeah, so a few other changes. So originally I built a frame that sat over the clocks for this bike. I guess when I first decided to go touring and I wanted to get cameras on it, it seemed like a good idea to have this framework, and it was something that I could mount the CarPlay head unit to as well. But I think the reality of that was, when I look back at the footage on those cameras, I hadn't realised at the time that how much of my view was obscured. So I did away with the frame, with the tubular frame, and redesigned a new mount just to take the CarPlay module. And that in itself sits a lot lower now, and works really well. It's really stable, but it's a little bit more tucked in. I'm hoping I'm getting a clearer view through the screen, or at least forward view. Right, this is a bit sketchy, this dual carriageway, on the grounds that we do get a fair chunk of traffic coming down here. What a nice one for us to go. I do love this bike, it does not hang about. I'm actually eyeing up a new bike in the new year. So one of the things that comes with hitting 55 is that you can tap into your personal pension. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I can do so. Grand plans for touring, going out and actually going and seeing the world a bit in the next few years. So I've had my eye on a Honda NC750X. There's a few people on YouTube who ride the bike, and those people have in turn really kind of solidified my thinking. To be honest, I was looking at Chinese bikes, I was looking at the CF Motos, I was looking at the Vosges. For pound, I mean £8,500 would get you a very, very solid 800cc bike. Yeah, it would get you a very solid 800cc bike fully loaded, and that was really tempting. But I kind of started to have second doubts, and really what brought that on was the whole issue with KTM being the importer for CF logo, and the hiccup that they were suffering just really made me think twice about supply chain, parts, how easy it was going to be to get things in, if anything happened to the bike. I mean, cracking, they were having troubles getting the bikes in, let alone anything else. And that was here. You know, the whole point of this new bike is to travel, it's to go out, to go see Europe, you know, maybe further afield. And I was like, crikey, you know, what happens if the bike breaks down in Bruges or Marrakesh? What was going to do then? So, you know, I sat in the garage and I really thought it over, and I was sitting on the Beamer and I was looking at the other two bikes, and the epiphany was that I was looking at the VFR 750 at 40 years old, and next to it was the CPR 1000F at 30 years old. And you know, the answer's right there. You know, yes, I'll pay more for the Honda. Yes, I'll get less on the Honda. But the infrastructure, the support that's there, that's what really matters. You know, when things go wrong, that's how we judge things. When things go wrong, come on, buddy, come back. Yeah, when things go wrong, we judge businesses by how they react. As a customer, that's what we want. We want good service. And to me, that's singularly the most important thing, is that service, is that ability to fix what's broken and get me going again. And especially when I'm on the road. The worst part about it will be, you know, until I retire, I'm still working. So therefore the time I have is vacation time, it's holiday time. You know, and I get 24 of those a year. You know, I break down in the middle of a holiday for 10 days or 12 days. That's gone. If I don't have the support, if I can't get something fixed relatively quickly, you know, I'm ferrying. Oh, hello. I'm ferrying that bike home. And sure, you know, that's not to say that won't happen with Honda. Yeah, it's quite, you know, possible, but less likely. You know, if we think about risk mitigation, I would fancy my chances with Honda, and that's the truth of it. So for the extra 1,800 quid, maybe even £2,000, if I'm thinking of peace of mind, I mean, with Honda's new servicing deals, you know, 6 years warranty. You know, I'm thinking about a 10-year bike right now, a 6 years warranty. They're doing extended service plans, warranty plans. It feels like a no-brainer. It really does. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Honda. Hello, bud. I'm gonna go with the Honda. Yeah, so that's it. That'll be in the new year. Shout out to Virtual Biker Paul. Thanks for answering a bunch of questions that I sent to you. It certainly would be a good trip to go up north and just say hello, shake the man by hand, buy him a breakfast. But yeah, grand plans. Grand plans. We're all getting older. That's one of the things. One of the things that I often say to my guys, you know, think about how you want to wind up on your working life. You know, I'm lucky. I have a fantastic job. I have a really, really amazing job. I work with great people, brilliant boss. The company's hugely supportive, but nevertheless, you know, we do have to think about our own welfare, our own mental health. And as I say, the thing that I often tell my guys and anybody else who's unlucky enough to be listening to me, think about health expectancy more than life expectancy. You know, the likelihood that we will develop a debilitating illness is much higher than having a shortened life expectancy. You know, I think in this country alone, I think dementia is the number one killer. I was unfortunate. I lost my father 3 years ago now. 3 years ago. From that. So yeah, you know, think about getting out early if you can, and go fill your life up with experiences. Yeah, I wish I could remember the author, but there's a poem, and it's all about the dash, and the reference is the dash between the two dates on a gravestone, and the importance of what we do about that dash, or how we fill that dash up. It's a great poem. Have a look it up. I believe it's called All About the Dash. So anyway, so one of the reasons actually to be out today, outside of actually just wanting to get out and ride the bike, is as you can see, we've got quite a lot of fuel. I did think I was going to lay it up for a little while. I mean, the bike is always transport or backup transport. Should anything happen to the car, I mean, I'm a 40 mile each way trip, so the car is important. But if it goes south, I do need to get myself to work. So the bike is important. So rather than leaving her sitting in the garage with half tank or empty tank, I actually filled it up again. That helps with corrosion, I believe. The full of the tank, less air, therefore less condensation when it's warmed and cooled. Maybe somebody will tell me otherwise, but that is certainly what I believe to be true. Going through. So yeah, so I've done a lot of servicing type jobs. So I've just recently done a full service on the bike, and also unfortunately had to do the final drive bearings. We started to grind away pretty significantly. You could actually feel it when you're riding. As you start to heel over, you could hear a pitch change in the tyres or in the wheel, and you could feel it. You could actually feel it wasn't a rumble. It was subtle, but it was there. So yeah, so change the bearings in the rear final drive, and the main bearing. When I looked at that, you could actually see the breakdown of the race of the ring. You can see these little pits and marks and all of that. Is it plating, hardening, whatever it is on the surface of the race? Was starting to chip and flake away, and was and deposited itself all over the magnetic catch on the bolt. So yeah, so got that done, which brings me back to the fuel tank. So I am acutely aware that I have no idea if the original fuel filter is the original fuel filter. That's such a strange statement. If the fuel filter is the original fuel filter, I'm coming through, guys. Thank you. So get in there and get that done. Now, of course, that's fuel filter, the O-ring, but also I've got the little U-pipe that sits in there. I mean, it's like a 30 quid part. I don't know if people have experienced it going, but I've heard enough stories that people have changed it, and the reason that they change it is that it softens or degrades over time, with it being a pressurized system, that it can blow, which presumably then just doesn't go anywhere, it stays in the tank, but that pressurized fuel is no longer pressurized, it's firing most of it into the tank, and that can leave you down to a significant breakdown or enough of a drop in performance that that would be a problem. So that needs to be done, but ideally I would want to drain the fuel down a bit more. So a little jaunt out is 30 miles, which, oh hello, squeaky brakes, which is not very good. I mean, she's going to have at least 100 mile more fuel and some change. So maybe we'll head home. Oh, call this a day for the minute, and check the cameras and the footage. Super keen to see how that's come out. What are we doing for time? Yeah, good.